Ancient Epic, Eros and Psyche. Topic: Eros and Psyche. The painful lesson of trust in Roman culture. Most of us know the story of the god of love and the princess, a romantic ballad with a happy ending. But this is not a fairy tale. This is a spiritual murder case, a painful lesson in trust, written during one of the most turbulent periods of the Roman Empire. What is worse, living in darkness with perfect love, or betraying that trust to uncover a truth that might destroy you? The story of Eros and Psyche is not just mythology. It is a philosophical metaphor packaged in a Roman novel, dissecting the deepest concepts of desire, the soul, and divine jealousy. We will not retell it. We will investigate its true origins, the cultural context that created it, and why it became the greatest story of the soul's redemption in the ancient world. If you want to uncover the biggest mysteries, the deepest analyses of ancient history, hit subscribe and turn on notifications immediately. The ancient epic community is the place for true historical investigators. Let's begin with the most beautiful woman who ever challenged the gods. This story is not from Homer or ancient Greece. It first appears in the work The Golden Ass, written by the Roman writer and philosopher Apuleius in the 2nd century A.D. This is crucial. It was written during a time when Eastern cults, particularly the beliefs surrounding Isis and Osiris, were challenging traditional Roman deities. This is the context of a crisis of faith. Part 1. The Curse of Beauty and the Religious Challenge. Psyche, the religious threat Psyche, whose name in Greek means soul, was beautiful beyond all boundaries. People began to worship her as a goddess, forgetting Venus, Aphrodite. This is not just jealousy. For the Romans, this was a supreme sin, sacrilege. The goddess Venus was jealous not only of the lost devotion, but because the divine order was being broken. A mortal who achieved divine perfection was a threat to the foundation of Roman religion. Venus commanded Eros, the god of desire, love, to make Psyche fall in love with a hideous creature, aiming to bring the soul down to the lowest status, thus restoring order. Eros's mistake and jealousy. And here is the crucial twist. Eros, the god of desire, accidentally wounded himself with his own arrow. Desire cannot control itself. The god of love, the one presumed to hold all emotional power, became a victim of his own making. Eros fell in love with Psyche. Desire loves the soul. And because of this love, he forbade anyone else from loving her. The consequence: Psyche's solitude was not a divine punishment, but the exclusive control of desire. She could not marry because Eros could not bear the soul belonging to anyone but himself. The prophecy of the monster. The prophecy from the Oracle of Delphi is one of the most shocking parts. She shall marry a winged monster who ravages everything with fire and sword. Eros was not a monster. He was the god of love, Amor. But to the world, desire was seen as something terrifying, irrational, and capable of destroying order. When the soul united with desire, even divine, it was still a horrific marriage in the eyes of society. Psyche was abandoned on the cliff, a marriage funeral. But when the west wind Zephyr gently lifted her, we know that this intervention was not the end, but the turning point for the soul to meet love. Part 2. The Covenant of Darkness and the Test of Trust. The Invisible Palace. Tangible perfection. Psyche awoke in a splendid palace where objects served themselves and invisible voices were the servants. Eros's love was perfect, providing everything for the soul. But it lacked one single element, a tangible presence. This poses the core philosophical question: what does the soul need? Psyche had wealth, service, and passionate love every night. But she lacked physical proof of that love. For humans, faith always needs to be reinforced by reality. The curse of darkness, the test of faith. The covenant of darkness was the prerequisite for the marriage. Eros demanded that Psyche accept love based on feeling and absolute trust, not on sight. This is a common motif in the mystery cults in Rome, where initiates had to undergo rites in darkness, and enlightenment, revelation, only came after they proved unwavering faith. Requiring Psyche not to look at her husband was the ultimate test for the soul. If Psyche looked at Eros, she would transform desire, Eros, from a mystical, sublime force into a mortal who could be controlled and identified. The soul must learn to trust love, not own it. The return of jealousy, the sister's trap. When Psyche missed home and Eros agreed to let her visit her family, again, proving the love and trust of the god of desire. However, her return as a wealthy queen only ignited the fire of jealousy in her two sisters. The two sisters are not side characters. They are the embodiment of Psyche's ego and doubt. The story is about to enter its climax, where the soul must face its most agonizing choice. If you are finding this content valuable, one click of your subscribe button will help Ancient Epic continue to shed light on these mysteries. We need your support to keep history alive. The night of betrayal. The two sisters planted the malicious curse in Psyche's mind. He is the monster from the prophecy. He will devour you. Doubt prevails. In the darkness, Psyche held a knife and an oil lamp, the tools of destruction. The knife symbolizes the intent to kill, but more importantly, the light, symbolizing mortal reason, shining upon the divine mystery. Part 3. The injury to trust and the collapse of love. The truth revealed and the hot oil. When the lamp's light shone, Psyche did not see a monster, but Eros, the god of love, an indescribable beauty, with glittering wings and golden and silver arrows. The soul had found the truth, but in a forbidden way. The collapse. She forgot the knife, overwhelmed. But a drop of hot oil accidentally fell from the lamp and touched Eros's shoulder. The hot oil is mortal reason, fascinated by tangible truth, which inflicted suffering upon divine love. It was the moment the soul had betrayed the covenant. The accusation and the departure. Eros woke up, not from physical pain, but from the shattering of trust. The god of desire's final words were the deepest accusation. I asked one thing of you, and you could not do it. And so, you shall never see me again. Meaning, divine love cannot exist if it is doubted and sought to be controlled by the soul. Eros flew away, not as an abandonment, but as the natural consequence of the soul, destroying the bond itself. The consequence of jealousy. The two sisters, hearing the news of Eros's departure, thought their chance had come. They leaped from the cliff, hoping Zephyr would carry them to the palace. But the west wind refused, because their actions stemmed from greed and jealousy, not love. This was a swift but important punishment. It confirmed that the jealous would never attain divine favor. The soul's ordeal. Psyche, the injured soul, began her journey of atonement. She wandered everywhere, begging the help of other goddesses, but no one dared oppose Venus. Finally, she had to face Venus, the direct punishment of the challenged goddess of beauty. Venus did not kill Psyche, but forced her to complete 4 impossible tasks. Part 4. The 4 Tasks of Redemption, Tasks 1 and 2. Sorting Seeds and Golden Fleece, Task 1. Sort a huge pile of mixed seeds in one night. This is a task of patience and order. Who helped her? A swarm of ants. Meaning, for the soul to be redeemed, it must learn to use small diligence and organization to overcome life's huge chaos. Task 2. Obtain the golden fleece from the ferocious sheep. The advice: a reed by the river advised her to wait until the sheep slept, then collect the wool caught on the branches, meaning the soul must learn wisdom, patience, and prudence instead of brute force. Task 3. The water of the Styx. Task 3. Fill a flask with the water of the river Styx, the river of unbreakable vows and death. This task was impossible for a mortal. Who helped her? The eagle of Zeus, meaning, to achieve final redemption, the soul needed the intervention of the divine at the highest level, Zeus, Jupiter, rising above the jealousy of Venus. Task 4. The box of beauty from the Underworld. Task 4. Bring back the box containing the beauty of Persephone from the Underworld to Venus. This was the final and most dangerous test. She had to travel through hell. The aid. A tower advised her on the route, how to bribe the ferryman Charon and the 3-headed dog Cerberus. Meaning, the tower is accumulated wisdom, the experience learned from past failures. The final mistake. On the way back, the soul's old curiosity returned. Psyche thought, if this beauty is for Venus, why not a little for myself? She opened the box. Inside was not beauty, but a sleep of death, lethargy. The soul collapsed, falling into a deep sleep. Analysis. Curiosity and the desire to possess divine beauty almost destroyed the soul. Part 5. The redemption and the philosophical allegory Love Saves the Soul. Eros, recovered from the burn, could not bear to see the soul he loved destroyed. Divine love returned to rescue the soul. Eros woke her from the deathly sleep. Eros appeals to Zeus. Eros did not just return independently. He flew to Olympus and begged Jupiter, Zeus, for Psyche's immortality, meaning the final union between the soul and desire could not happen on its own. It needed the approval of the supreme power, Zeus. The divine marriage and philosophical meaning. Jupiter convened a meeting of the gods. Venus accepted, and Psyche was given ambrosia, transforming her into the goddess of the soul. The ending, the soul, Psyche, and love, desire, Eros, were finally united. They had a daughter named Voluptas, pleasure, bliss, anal fine or analysis. This is Apuleius's message. To achieve bliss, Voluptas, humanity must undergo a painful journey where the soul, Psyche, must learn to trust love, Eros, unconditionally, overcoming doubt, jealousy, and the desire for material possession. The story of Eros and Psyche is not just a myth, it is the hero's journey in psychological philosophy. It teaches us that the soul must travel through the hell of doubt to prove itself worthy of divine love. What do you think of Psyche's choice? Would you have opened that oil lamp? Comment below, share your thoughts, and join the historical debate with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the Ancient Epic channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our deep analyses of humanity's greatest legacies. See you in the next epic.